Nordschleife will be the last battle of these gladiators this season. So buckle up, get some popcorn, and join us today as we get ready to watch round 12 of the Grand Prix Legends series live on the Global SimRacing Channel via the iRacing eSports Network. The crew to give you all these stats and storylines today will be Ryan Walker, joining myself, Stefan Schlacher. Turning the knobs and pushing the buttons behind the scenes are director Sean Greggs Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by the great Dougie Beard. Dubbed as the Green Hell by Jackie Stewart in the late 60s, the Nurburgring stands tall in the German Eifel. Let us get a better look at this incredible circuit by heading tarmac side with our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to the Nurburgring Nordschleife. Most modern high-end series might use the GP circuit nowadays, but it will certainly never hold the respect and awe that the Northern Loop commands. Though it can be and is usually used in conjunction with the Grand Prix circuit for competitions in real life, here on iRacing, drivers can harken back to a time gone by and just run the 13-mile behemoth this place is known for. Nicknamed the Green Hell by three-time F1 world champion Sir Jackie Stewart, it is often regarded as the greatest test of a driver anywhere on the planet. Just looking at the stats will tell you why. More than 150 turns and close to 1,000 feet in elevation will pass you by in a single lap. Simply memorizing the course is half the battle for most drivers, let alone being fast. It goes without saying that this place is dangerous. Many fast corners lack runoff, there's blind apexes everywhere, and in a couple cases, even modern cars will get airborne. The list of famous turns is pretty lengthy, but some of the more notorious are places such as Flugplatz, Miss Hit Miss, Bravery Corner, and of course, the ever-iconic Carousel. It's not just the places where you've got to move the wheel that get attention too. The Dottinger Hoa stretches for more than 1.5 miles in length. While you would think this circuit would mainly be limited to the track days most gearheads flock to for a chance to lap the ring, it still sees quite a bit of wheel-to-wheel combat. The 24 Hours of the Nurburgring, the VLN Series, and the World Touring Car Championship all still take the track to this day. Many race fans consider this the mecca of road racing, and any driver who is able to push the limits here often quickly garners their respect.
As always, Joe Peak doing what nobody can do better, talking you a lap around the Nürburgring that we see before us. Ryan, what else can you add to what Joe just told us?
Yeah, this fantastic Nürburgring track is located in Nürburgring, and also as well 15.77 miles in length and 25.38 kilometers, if you fair to use that, and has an incredible 170 turns. As always in real life, it hosts the Nürburgring 24 and also the Sub TCR series, and also has hosted the truck racing as well. And and that will be host to the final round of the Grand Prix Legends series here today at the Nürburgring.
Yeah, it has actually a long tradition that people don't know about with those European truck racing series. The Nürburgring always running that one. But next up on our list, we have the F1 Drivers' Championship, which has already been clinched by Mick Schumacher about 2 weeks ago. He is now sitting at 450 points. Peter Mikus, once our leader very early in this season, he is now back up to second place, about 34 points ahead of Michel Dudignon sitting in third. Nicola Gauci, the Italian, only 5 points behind Dudignon, so that a fight for third place still is very much open, and also Trengrid as many points behind. or rather a few more points behind, I would say, in 5th place. So it's going to be very interesting how that is going to shape up today. Ryan, how are we looking for that F2 Drivers' Championship?
The F2 Championship is still really close at the moment, but it's technically only a three-way fight for the championship, with Eric Lucco currently leading on 160 points, with David Rossi in second. And if Rossi wants to try and win this championship, he has to, off the top of my head, if I'm correct, by Robert's calculations, he has to win or finish in front of Lucco to stand any chance of taking it. But Parigi mathematically is still in this, but with a slight chance in third. And Andrew Eng and Brennan Cleveland round out the top 5, and those two guys are technically out of the championship fight.
Yeah, the thing with Rossi there is that he pretty much has to finish in 3rd place or better, with Luke pretty much not scoring any points today. So it's quite a tall task for Rossi here today, but nothing is impossible at the Nurburgring Nordschleife, and so is also still the Nations Cup that we have. There is about 60 points in between the United Kingdom leading right now with 482 points to their name. United States, they are 2nd place, as you can see on your screen, 61 points in total behind. And then we have France, Italy, and Slovakia bringing up the rear of the top 5. So still can be shaking up a little bit there, but it's going to be very interesting what happens there with that 4th place battle. Ryan, for people that join us here today for the very first time, what are the race details here in the Grand Prix Legends series?
So today is the final round of this 12-round season, and the race length for today will be 5 laps. What you might think is not really, it doesn't make it a long race, but with the length of the track, it takes quite a while to complete a lap around here. But 5 laps is the race length, and the setups as always are open setups, so you're free to change anything you want. And as always, 17x will be a stop and go penalty, and if you go over 25, or if you get to 25 or go over it, you will be disqualified from the race. So I think today the name of the game for today anyway is going to be just being careful and just making sure you don't hit the wall.
One more thing we have to add to those race details is, if you're not used to the Nurburgring Nordschleife, we do not have an in-session qualifying that would be going on right now. No, these drivers had their qualifying times gathered up throughout the week. They were able to set their qualifying times and try as often as they wanted. So we will head pretty much directly to the grid already, as we have jumped over to the race session, and we can confirm Michel Dudignon, the Frenchman. He is true to his name as the Nurburgring King, and he is right now in 1st place on the grid with Mick Clash. Actually, the joker of this race, he will be lining up in 2nd place, so very interesting how the UK night driver will be able to drive here today. Untitled will be lining up in 3rd place, with Rob Olenek in 4th, Nicola Cocci, the Italian driver, in 5th. Tommy Miguel Onhola, as you can see now on your screens, will be lining up in 6th place, with Peter Mikus in 7th. Rafael Dorado, he will be lining up in 8th. Bill Tyler 9th. Number 9 starting right where he belongs. And Alexi Heinonen will be lining up in 10th place.
Yep, starting in 11th is Fabrizio Massani, 12th is Alessandro Parigi, Elliot Lucco in 13th, 14th is David Rossi, Ivan Delado in 15th. There we go.
As the engines are already harmonizing, so Ryan there, and the green flag is out. It's a good start from Mick Clash. Michel Dudignon with a horrible start. Mick Clash already passed him well before the braking for turn 1. And Untitled tries to challenge around the outside. Oh, there's a touch on the rear of Michel Dudignon. That was Rob Olenek. Another few cars are involved on the inside of turn 1. That's not how he wanted to start his race. And another crash there. That was between Tixier, and a few more cars are involved there. What a messy start. Continuing through the first few turns, Mick Clash is still your leader with Untitled in 2nd place, Nicola Cocci, the Italian, in 3rd place, with Mikus in 4th. Bill Tyler gaining quite a few positions. He's now in 5th place, starting from 9th. A very nice drive through the first few turns, trying to avoid all of that carnage. Also, Rafael Dorado slide in 8th. He's now in 6th. Eric Lukol from 13th up to 7th. Paslowski in 8th. Tixier now in 9th. And Donald Peak, look at that, 16th place to 10th.
Yeah, good start for Donald, and yeah, back up at the front as well. The man that was in the position to pounce and pick up a couple of positions and technically take the lead was Mick Claridge, and again he's just slightly pulling away with Ovi Trengrade in second, and that's like Trengrade's not letting Mick get away that easy.
In the background, Andre Schumacher goes into a little bit of a different line through the Schumachers. He went off track there and lost a few positions, but he didn't touch the wall or anything else. As we come to the end of the Grand Prix track, we take a left turn here and we head on to the Nurburgring Nordschleife. 5 total laps, as Ryan already said in the pre-show, will be done here today. So a lot of turns these guys have to match, but 172 turns they will have to memorize throughout the week. Let's see who is able to do them the best the first time around. Obviously, after all the carnage, we had a few drivers go back and forth, a few drivers fall down, a few drivers did climb up. If you want to keep up very easily with all the drivers that are going to take to the Nürburgring Nordschleife today, you can head over to gsrc.tv for our official timing screen, so you can yourself also keep up with your most favorite drivers.
And yeah, just looking at Ovi Trengrade as well, he went over that jump and he got some big air time as well and managed to hold it. So 10 out of 10 for Ovi for that jump.
Looking back at the battle for P number 5, we have actually 3 drivers in line. That's Bill Tyler heading the train with Rafael Durado, who we're on board right now, looking over that blue car there. Also in behind, that's Eric Luko in 7th, who himself made a little bit of a mistake through Schwedenkreuz, so he is falling back a little bit from that battle, now 2nd behind. So Durado, the bigger challenger right now for that 5th place of Bill Tyler. Also right ahead of them, the battle for 3rd place between Kochi and Mikus is going on right now. The Italian versus the Slovakian. Don't forget, they're not only battling for sort of 2nd place in the championship. Peter Mikus right now has that in with about 13 points difference to Kochi, but also fighting for that Nations Cup for that 4th place right now. Kochi actually has that, only a few points between Kochi and Mikus for that 4th place.
Indeed, and yeah, it seems to be surprisingly at the moment. It seems to have all just kind of settled down at the moment, and all right, as the battle for P. Actually, looking at the pack, this battle for P13 is a big line of cars at the moment from Cohen down to Andrew Eng, and there's someone in the background just clipped the curve and got a bit sideways, but at the moment this pack is really close together.
32 cars did take the green flag, 22 are still in the race, believe it or not, so we have lost quite a few people already through all the first 2 corners. Carnage that we have seen today. Heading back up to the battle between Peter Mikus and Nikola Kochi. Nikola Kochi had a really bad exit out of Bergwerk, so let's see if Mikus is able to do anything through the long, windy stretch of fast pace road that we have right now going through Großhotel. Doesn't seem like he's able to do anything apart from going off track, heading into the Mutkurve. That's really bad lineup for him. Nearly goes to the grass there. Great save from Mikus. We were looking over the shoulder there for that save.
Yeah, that was for Kochi, that was a bit. Yeah, Mikus wrap. That was a bit of a, as we like to call it in the UK, a bit of a squeaky bum moment.
Right out sideways, he went through that. as we're gonna head up to Mr. Mick Kletch, who's still leading your race. He has picked up a little bit of damage on the front of his nose. Don't worry about that too much. That is just how the Lotus 49 sometimes bottoms out a little bit too harshly because of the soft springs it has to run. And that is why he picked up that damage. Right behind him, that is actually still the Norwegian of Trengrid, who himself also is very strong on the Nurburgring. So gonna be interesting to see how Trengrid can attack Kletch, or if Kletch is actually able to defend well against Trengrid. Continuing to drive through the last few corners leading up to Döttinger. Trengrid taking the kleine Sprunghügel soon very nicely, hopefully. Let's see how that's gonna go. That left-hander down here, that's the kleine Sprunghügel leading into the Stefan Bellof S. One of the most trickiest corners, section of corners rather, the Stefan Bellof S, because you have 3 times the camber change from the right to the left to the right. Now going into Schwalbenschwanz. One of the last few corners right here. Kletch a little bit sideways, goes too wide into the kleine Karussell they had. Trengrid a little bit stronger through the kleine Karussell as they now head to the Döttinger double right-hander. Trengrid 1 year ago found himself sliding on his head across the tarmac here. Loses his race. Mick Kletch on the same time loses his car. He has to settle for second place right now. I don't know if that also was a little bit calculated by the Brit. Let's see how they head down to Tiergarten for the very first time.
Yeah, and down the straight, if someone passes you, you can easily get back by them by using slipstream. And it looks like Mick is actually doing that as well. He's using the slipstream, goes by Trengrid and back up into the loop before. Oh, as Trengrid gets sideways, coming down the crest.
Yeah, very lucky there for Trengrid. But no harm, no foul. Bill Tyler versus Dorado. Dorado was able to overtake Bill Tyler during this lap, or rather during the run up to Tiergarten. Not surprised about that, obviously, as we've just seen, the draft is very strong. Alright, first lap has been completed. Mick Kletch still leading over Trengrid. Nicola Kochi in third, about 5.5 seconds behind. Rafael Dorado in fourth place, or 12 seconds behind. Bill Tyler brings up right now the rear of the top 5. But most importantly, let's have a look at what happened on that very first lap. There we can see already the damage that happened to Michel Tudignon and Rob Olenek. Rob Olenek just seemed to have a little bit of a too late reaction to his breaking point, Ryan.
Looks like it, and Olenek just lost it under braking and clipped the rear of Michel Tudignon, who luckily didn't roll it, but it looks like Olenek just outbraked himself, tapped the rear of Tudignon, and just a slight, just a little racing incident, and it was nothing intentional. It's just one of those things. But Claridge and Trengrid have pulled away from the rest of the pack and pretty much leaving them in the dust. And it looks like at the moment, it's going to be the fight for the win is going to be between these two guys.
Very much does look so right now. Now, once again, if you want to keep up with all the drivers that have fallen out of this race, or if you just want to see who is still in this race and you don't want to look at our tower on the left side, you can head over to GSRC.tv. That's our official timing and scoring right now, where you can most definitely keep up with all your favorite drivers. Looking back at Dorado right now, that is still versus Bill Tyler for that fourth place. It seems like Dorado has been able to separate himself a little bit from Bill Tyler. The gap is now up to about 9/10 between those two as they head through T13 for the second time, going into the Nordschleife. The right-hander at Hudson-Bach as we're looking over the shoulder of Bill Tyler going into the left-right. that follows up. And this is one of the most iconic sections of turns actually on the Nordschleife. Left, right, left. Very tricky, very easy to unsettle your car right over that camber change here through the left-hander. But both of them are nicely able to manage that. Hoheneichen, that just was that section going over the small bridge. River runs under here. And Flugplatz for the second time. Look at the air he gets. Nicely saves the car over the crest. Next up, we're coming over to Cottenborn. Double left-hander, and then we're already heading up to Schwedenkreuz. The track is a little bit different here in real life now. They have removed some of the crest here to not have so many harsh accidents like we have seen in the past in real life. Arenberg, the right-hander, under the Yokohama Bridge down to Fuchsröhre. Going back a little bit to Paul Ferrer versus Donald Peak, Ryan, they are also extremely close, just a few corners behind.
Yeah, these guys have been close together, and they pretty much close together since the start of the race. And it's good to see Donald having a good run as well on 11th. This is, I think, if I'm correct, his best run of the season so far. And but under huge pressure from Paul Ferrer, and not far behind these guys as well. It looks like you've got Dave Cohen as well. So these three guys are relatively close together at the moment. They're just sitting outside the top 10.
By the way, if you don't know, Arenberg is actually one of the highest points on this circuit, as they now head into Adenauer Forst. Left-right chicane here. Very tricky to maneuver in a Lotus 49 with all the wheel spin you can get from slow turns. Donald Peak still is leading that battle. Heading up though to Exmühle, where our battle for first place is going through right now. That's Ove Trengred versus Mick Kledge. Ove Trengred has made his intentions clear, goes now through the Lauder links. He very much wants that first place away from Mick Kledge. Mick Kledge right now still is able to withstand that pressure, but for how long? That is the question. Now, obviously, Ove Trengred, he was very shortly ahead of Mick Kledge, but that was only because Mick Kledge had a calculated incident, let's say, like that mistake through Döttinger Höhe, and then went past again Ove Trengred to not let Trengred get past him up to Tiergarten. Kilometer 13, and now has been passed as they head into the right-hander. That is the Stahlstrecke. If you don't know, the old Nürburgring used to go right up the very steep hill, about I think a 20% incline that one was, with an extreme jump at the very end. Kilometer 14 has now been passed, 27 kilometers along this track, as they head through the left and right, leading up to Hohe Acht, which is this right-hander right now.
And Ove's trying everything to try and keep up with Mick, and he's basically just throwing the car into every corner just basically throwing it into every corner just to try and keep up. And at the moment, we know how quick Ove can be, but sometimes he can be quick, but he just makes mistakes sometimes. But at the moment, Ove gets sideways again and just starts throwing the car around, and Mick seems to be feeling the pressure as well a little bit. It just seems to be getting sideways at times.
Going through Brünchen, or YouTube Corner as it's also called in English. If you just type Nürburgring crash compilation, that's where most of the crashes are happening, because there's a huge parking spot actually for visitors, and most of the times that's where they set up the cameras. Going back to the battle for P number 11, we actually have a change there. Paul Ferrer was able to get past Donald Peak for that position. Let's actually head to the replay and see what happened between those two, because that happened through Exmühle. Seems like both Rare got a really nice run out of there, Ryan.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it looked like he got a great run on the exit and just carried a lot more speed than Peak and managed to get the move done and up into 11th and he's managing to leave Peak behind.
While Peak is under pressure from Cone, we also have Trangerade and Kledge heading into the long straight up to Tiergarten. Over Trangerade might have a passing opportunity here. So we're going to go on board with him instead than Cohen, and he's actually side by side right now with Mick Kledge as we head onto those pictures. The Bilstein board at Tiergarten has been passed, and over Trangerade has also gotten past Mick Kledge for the very first time, heading into lap number 3. Going back again to Lucal and Roman Pawlowski, same thing right here. Also, Pawlowski able to go past very easily. Look at the overspeed he has over Lucal. Seems like Lucal actually has some issues on his car, because that's quite the gap that Pawlowski was able to pull here as they head up to the last few corners. Over Trangerade, by the way, also H23.108, new fast lap of the race.
Yep, and further back in the pack as well. This battle for the P12 is still going on between Peak and Cohen, and at the moment it looks like Cohen's got the run slightly, but he's not really close enough, surprisingly, to try and make a move. But maybe trying to stay behind, but he's getting closer in the slips now, and decides not to make a move.
Going through Tiergarten, those two guys are now as well the last breaking point of this track. It seems like the 24 of Donald Peak is able to stay ahead for now. By the way, only 18 drivers are still racing around this track. We started with 32, so the attrition has been extremely high as we head back to the battle for first plate. Over Trangerade still is in first, right behind him. That's Mick Kledge, who riding on board once again. The UK9 driver wants to keep his clean sheet. 11 races, 9 wins, 2 times he didn't attend. That was the first 2 weeks of this season. So every race he attended, he actually also won. He wants to keep it that way as he goes to the left side, right into the NGK chicane, and he's actually able to take that position away. Mick Kledge back into first.
Great move by Mick, and they managed to sneak up the inside of Owie. I think Owie didn't want to really make a fight of it and just decided to let Mick go, and they just follow him again through this Nordschleife for 6, and as I eventually get my words out. But at the moment, Mick in the lead again as he comes through the Nordschleife for 6.
Once again, they head through Hudson-Bach and going up to Hohen Eichen soon. Right here, that's Hohen Eichen, right and left. Gonna be interesting how this one is shaping out. Lap number 3, we are already at right now. Over Trangerade very much is keeping the pace of Kledge, or is it rather the other way around? The Kledge is able to hold the pace of Trangerade. Gonna be very interesting to continue to monitor this battle. As those two head over Schwedenkreuz, we're going to go back to the battle for 7th place once again. That's Pawlowski versus Lucal. Pawlowski has been able to get away a little bit from Lucal, but it seems like through the Nordschleife, or at least through the Grand Prix Strecke, Lucal has been able to keep the pace of Pawlowski.
Looks that way, and the Pawlowski just pulling away slightly, but Lucal rather is still kind of keeping with him, and I'm just looking back at the battle for a P12 still, and it's still relatively close between Cohen and Peak at the moment.
We actually do have to go back though to the battle for first place as Mick Kledge makes a little bit of a mistake through the left-hander at Metzgersfeld, but nothing too tragic there as they now head through Kallenhardt. A very interesting right-hand hairpin, very much downhill from here down to the lowest point of the track. Mick Cledge going through dreifach rechts or hit, miss, hit, as it's also called in English. Oh, another mistake from Mick Cledge, a little bit too eager into the right-hander there just before Wehrsifen. Overturning rate, very much stalking the rear of Mick Cledge. If you do want to drive it yourself through X minute, that's a 50 kilometers an hour zone as Mick Cledge makes a mistake. Overturning rate side by side now with him as they head through the Lauda links. Mick Cledge a little bit sideways, but he keeps his car together and once again still in the lead and going through backpack.
Yeah, that was fantastic racing. The two wide, Ovi and Mick giving each other plenty of room and plenty of
Oh,
space.
another mistake.
Mick makes another mistake.
Sorry, Ryan there. Mick Cledge very much under pressure. He's feeling the pressure, so I don't know. I have to say, I did call Mick Cledge before we started this broadcast the underdog in this race. It's gonna be much more Batrengerate and Michel Dugno, who are the official Nurburgring kings here in the Lotus 49. Nobody is as fast as those two guys. So it is rather surprising to see Mick Cledge right now being able to keep Trengerate behind him. So really does seem like Mick Cledge has once again put in his 400 laps that he normally does. Trengerate still in second place. Obviously, it's a little bit of a what-if question if with Michel Dudino, if he would have been able to challenge these guys. Would he have been able to run away, or how close would this all have been with him also in this battle? But those questions will most definitely be unanswered as he crashed out. A lap 1, turn 1, with a little bit of a contact between himself and Rob Olk.
As a excuse me, Mick still under pressure from Ovi, and Ovi just seems to be at the moment. He seems to be the quicker driver at the moment, but just because of that the long back straight, if he makes away from Mick, Mick can use that slipstream to get back by him, and it's come over the jump.
Oh, that was nearly one of the worst jumps we have seen there from Mick Cledge. Nosedives into that. Right there, kleiner Sprunghügel now. Who he once again, a little bit of a miss lineup there on his part. But also, as our director has told us, if you want to see more of those helmets that we have in the Lotus 49, the 1987 Cup cars, they also will feature this exact helmet as our Trengerate goes to the outside of the Kleine Carousel. Mick Cledge seemed to want to let him pass here because he doesn't want to get overtaken once again by Trengerate. But Trengerate knows the game, though Mick Cledge now is able to let him pass. And Trengerate now slow. Look at the tactics. They know they have nearly 10 seconds back to third place. Nicola coaches that most definitely can play those tactic games. But Trengerate decides to just gun it, and Mick Cledge is now in pursuit. Gets the draft. Obviously a very easy overtake for him here up to Tiergarten. Interesting to see that the tactics games have already been playing. I thought we might have to wait to about lap 4 to see them, but nope, they're already starting here in lap 3. As we're going back to Tixier, I think, had an issue. As he left the server. Ryan, what happened?
So he's just, it looks like he just lost it all by himself. Yeah, it looks like it, and maybe just pushed it too hard and lost the car, and collected the barrier. And as we look again at the replay, it looks like it's when he comes over that jump, and just look at, he just lost the rear and clipped the barrier.
Yeah, there you can see exactly what the problem is with the Stefan Belov S here in the Lotus 49. It's that crest in the middle of the road with the camber change. That's what lifted all the tires off Tixier. And because of that, because he had too much throttle input right there, his car spun out, hit the barrier, and that ended his race. That means we have only 15 cars remaining on the track. Once again, we start with 32, so we're having less than half of the drivers remaining. 2 laps to go, though we still have about 45 kilometers to race. Over Trengrid still in second place, with Mickey Cledge in the lead. Nicola Kochi about 8.5 seconds behind in third. Rafael Dorado 11 seconds behind in fourth. 11 seconds that is behind Kochi, by the way. Roman Paslawski in fifth place. He's already 28 seconds behind. Eric Lukel, 6th place. Joey Relia, 7th. Yuri Geisen in 8th. Paul Ferrer and Dave Cohen bring up the rear of your top 10. If you want to keep up more with the field that still remains here, head over to gsrc.tv for your timing and scoring needs.
And always Mick makes another mistake, and it seems to be as soon as we get onto the Nordschleife for Stefan, Mick seems to be okay, seems to make a lot of mistakes, but Ove on the other hand seems to be a lot more consistent and a lot more quicker.
Now, one thing I have to say, what I didn't really expect, but we might actually see a little bit of lap traffic either this or next lap, as Ivan de Adio, the last car still racing, he is 7.5 minutes behind. Now with a lap time of 8.5 seconds, roughly, 8.5 minutes rather, roughly for these two guys, we might actually see Ivan de Adio getting caught by Ove Terrangrade and Mickey Cledge in the last lap, as Ove Terrangrade very aggressive over the Flugplatz. Getting a very airborne there. Now, looking further into all the cars that have visited the pit lane already, I can say that we're back up a few cars again. That is 3 actually that have been in pit lane for an extensive amount of time. One of those cars is actually Trent Buss, right now in 20th place overall. We also have Rob Olenek, who is in 23rd right now. You can see how his car is damaged. Obviously didn't get repaired fully. He's 1 lap behind. We also have Telmo Amaral, who's back on track. They're not too far apart. 19 seconds. The gap between those two is also David Rossi. In 21st, he's only 5 seconds ahead of Telmo Amaral. And then we have about a minute gap up to the before mentioned Trent Buss, who is himself in 20th place. So we still have a few cars, as said, remaining in this race. 15 plus what is that? 4 makes 19 cars that are still racing. But once again, the front of the field very tightly packed, right between Ove Terrangrade and Mickey Cledge.
These two are still close together, and I think this battle's pretty much going to go down to the last lap, and the back straight on the last lap, and I think that would decide who will win this race. But again, Mick, he's made some silly mistakes, but Ove just seems to be. Yeah, he's pushing even harder as well, just sliding that car around a lot. And I think if these two get close together, there could inevitably possibly be an accident at some point, which I hope there isn't.
Should be very interesting indeed. Now, once again, they're back up to about 10.5 seconds back to Nicola Kochi. So they have once again built up quite the gap, and it's going to be interesting. As already said, we are expecting those tactic games to be played out right through Göttinger Höhe. So it's going to be interesting how these two are going to play out, not only this lap but also last lap. Because lap 5 you want to be second place heading through Döttinger because you want to have that draft. Question is though, Ryan, if you're in first place, would it be enough to just hold the brake a little bit, get that second place past you, and then draft back up, going up to the last turn?
It's a tough one. I think if I was trying grade, I would probably wait until maybe the last lap, and then wait until the back straight, and use that slipstream to the advantage, to his advantage rather than just stay. Use that and try and slingshot by Claridge.
Continuing the drive, those two are now through Wippermann. Up the hill once again. This is the most hilly section of pretty much any track ever created. Overtrain rate a little bit sideways heading into Brünchen, but not too much of a problem. Keeps all his speed going, keeps the momentum up, and most definitely keeps up with Mick Marriage. Lap number 4 we are in right now. One more lap to go after this. So still about, 32, 33 kilometers to go for these two to battle it out for the last win of the season. Overtrain rate much better through that right-hander. Heading up to Pflanzgarten. Now the Stefan Belloff. Oh, that's Mick Kletstedt! Into the barrier he goes. Stefan Belloff has beaten the UK night driver, and he won't be able to make it a clean sweep this season. Pretty much the same thing we saw with Sebastian Tixier.
It just looks like Mick, it looked fine, and then as soon as he went over that bump, it just made the car bounce, and he lost the rear end, and Mick was just a passenger. And yeah, that was unfortunate because him and Ove was having a really great race, and yeah, he just went over that bump, and it made the rear end unstable, and just launched him into the wall. And it looks like Mick's coming to the pits as well, so he's going to try and salvage the result.
There is Mick Kletch with his extremely damaged car. Sadly for him, as said, he won't be able to make it with that, obviously, a clean sweep this season. This heads overtrain rate quite the easy gap for the last lap, 6.5 seconds. He now is separated by Nicola Kochi, who, by the way, we have to say, he was my pick for the winner of this race. Because of all the troubles that might have happened to the front runners, and right now he is in that second place. Once again, 6.5 seconds behind Overtrain Rate, who heads onto the last race of last lap of this season.
And yeah, it seems to be it's all settled down now, and the train grade just needs to. You can't really afford to back off that easy, because it's one of those things. If you back off, you start losing your concentration a little bit, and you just you kind of in a way just go lose your concentration and rhythm. So he needs to keep up his pace, but not do anything silly.
Nicola Kochi, actually he was one of the early title contenders for this season until Mick Kletch took over everything. He had been struggling through the mid portion of this season, but he always kept his nose clean, he always kept in it, and right now that looks very promising for him, for at least a third place, maybe even a second place in this season, especially with Peter Mikus being wrecked out for so long already. In third place, one of the newcomers to this series, started in 8th place, right now in 3rd place. It's Rafael Durado, 22.5 seconds behind your leader of Overtrain Rate. He's also running a very lonely race, just as Nicola Kochi, because the next guy, that's Roman Paslowski, is about 9 seconds behind Rafael Durado. Sitting in 5th place, right now your F2 Championship leader, it's Eric Lukl, the German driver. Started in 13th, right now in 5th place. By the way, quick note on Roman Kozlowski, plus 14 positions for him. He's starting 18th. Get to that 4th place. Ryan, who do we have in 6th?
Yeah, so I'd say 6th position at the moment. It looks like you've got a Joey Aurelia at the moment, and 7th we've got Yuri Geeson. 8th is Paul Ferrer. 9th, according to iRacing, is Mick Claridge, but he'll fall further down the field. And then Dave Cohen, so in 9th and 8th.
Sorry, Ryan, I have to stop you. Something happened with Ove Trengrid. He lost 4 seconds. He's now only 1.5 seconds ahead of Nicola Kochi. They are separated by 1.3 seconds. I don't know what happened to Trengrid, but he is damaged. We might have something picked up somewhere on our cameras. So, really, we don't know exactly, but he is hurt. Seems like we weren't able to catch it on our cameras, because in the background you can already see Nicola Kochi. So, very interesting development right here.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to Ove. Surely wouldn't slow down on purpose and they let Kochi catch up, because that would just be a silly thing to do.
I don't think that would be a strategy for Ove Trengrid. Maybe he just doesn't have enough fuel for this lap and actually has to be a little bit careful right now, because Kochi is getting closer. It's now down to 1.1 seconds as we're riding on board with the Italian. So very, very interesting development on this last lap. So maybe my pick for this race actually comes through. By the way, in case you want to know, Ryan Walker did pick Peter Mikus, and that didn't work out very well for you.
Yep, so yeah, I guess in the future when it comes to predicting the winners in a race, I'll probably just keep my mouth shut. But Ove Trengrid is still leading at the moment. But yeah, it's a bit weird how that gap came down so quickly. But it could be, like you mentioned, it could be fuel. And as Trengrid gets sideways on the entry and they manages to keep it together, but Kochi again closes the gap right down to about 0.6 of a second.
After X-Mühle has been passed, Lauderlinks and Bergwerk remain for these two, or rather wait for these two. Nicola Kochi now very much on the back end of Ove Trengrid, only 4/10 between those two. Starting to feel like as if Trengrid really didn't pack enough fuel for this lap. Very, very interesting. We'll have to see if Trengrid is going to talk to us, so we can find out what happened to the Norwegian in the first part of this lap. A little bit sideways he goes through the mood curve. Nicola Kochi has dropped a little bit back, now 9/10, separating first and second.
I think the best opportunity for Kochi to make a move on Trengrid is heading onto the back straight, and if he still keep close enough, he could make a move. As long as he keeps the gap just under a second, he should be able to use that slipstream and possibly try and make a move. But it's all about getting the run as well onto that back straight. Let's say if you can carry the speed there, you can get a great run. That'll help massively.
Actually makes me wonder if Ove Trengrid is going to play a little bit of a tactic on Nicola Kochi to get himself behind him, or if he just tries to open up the gap enough so Kochi can't catch him up to Tiergarten. So let's see what is going to develop through here. We're already in the latter stages of this lap. Next up, we're getting to Brünchen right now. Left, right section that is going through right now. Nicola Kochi, the Italian, hasn't won a single race in the last 2 seasons. I think the last race he did win was in 19 season 4, or no, actually 3, I think. It's a very long time for him to win, as we're actually gonna get traffic. It's Robert Reynolds. Let's see how that is gonna play out. Over terrain grade, very careful around him. Nicola Kochi with that closes the gap once again. 4/10 between those two as they head through the Stefan Bellof Eswern. Mick Clage has pretty much pinned his hopes on making this race once again as the winner. Nicola Kochi creeps in closer through Schwalbenschwanz, now only 4/10 straight. The left-hander at the Kleine Carousel, a little bit sideways on the downshift, Kochi, but keeps it all under control. 5/10 now between those two as they head into the Döttinger Höhe for the last time of this race. It's lap number 5, the last one of this season. Who is gonna win it? It's gonna be a new winner of this season. Nicola Kochi versus Owe Trangrate. They're heading through Döttinger Höhe. It's full throttle from here on out. Nicola Kochi tries to get that slipstream. Over Trangrate goes left, goes right. Who is going to be the winner this last race of the season? Nicola Kochi heads to the right side as they head up the hill. Up to Tiergarten, side by side for the lead on the last lap. Nicola Kochi on the right side and Over Trangrate on the left. Nicola Kochi a little bit slow through Tiergarten, still side by side as they head into the last touch. Trangrate spins out. Kochi continues on his way unharmed. He's gonna win the last round of this season. The Italian makes it happen. That might even be the second place in the championship standings for him. Owe Trangrate comes home in second place with his damaged car, and heading back 26 seconds, it's going to be Rafael Dorado finishing in third.
Yeah, and Dorado coming around the final few corners to finish in a well-deserved third place as well. But that was an incredible finish between Kochi and Trangrade, and that was a bit of a... Well, that was nicht gut for Trangrade.
Roman Pawlowski from 18th into 4th place. What a drive for the German, as Eric Lukel confirms his victory in the F2 Championship, finishing in 5th place. Joy Relia makes his last few corners as he comes home in 6th place, starting from 23rd as we head into the replay to show exactly what happened between Trangrate and Kochi. Ryan, talk us through it.
So it looks like Trangrade's basically got a decent gap for this back straight, and as you can see, he's not weaving, but he's kind of just trying to break the slipstream, but it doesn't really work. And Kochi seems to get a great run and slipped a bit of side draft as well, and he goes by Trangrade, but Trangrade doesn't give up, and that was an Eto at some point. Go for it. Oh, it was Trangrade clipped the inside curve and just made the car bounce, and unfortunately ended up in contact between him and Kochi, and that was a fantastic battle for the win. Whoa, yeah, Trangrade got a bit of airtime for good measure.
Yeah, most definitely. That curb hit from Trangrade sent him into the car of Nicola Kochi. So, with all of that past us, we're gonna step aside for just a few moments, but don't step away too far, as these guys will head for a last race of the season, Demolition Derby. streaming to your home on the Global SimRacing Channel via the iRacing Esports Network. As always, first on our channel list, it's the unofficial finishing order, which is being topped by Nicola Kochi after very interesting last corner, pretty much, incident between himself and Overtrain. He is victorious over the Norwegian by about 7.5 seconds. Rafael Dorado makes the podium after finishing in third, with Ron Pawlowski going up 14 positions to finish in fourth, but a full 40 seconds behind your leader. Eric Lukel finishes in 5th, with Troy Relia gaining a lot of positions, started in 23rd, finishes in 6th place. Very good drive by the 21 to finish there. Yuri Geisa in 7th place, Paul Frere 8th, Dave Cohen finishes in 9th, and Don Peak rounds out your top 10.
Yep, and finishing in 11th was Mick Claridge, Gilo for Colin finishing in 12th, 13th is Rodney Evans, 14th is Robert Reynolds, 15th is Ivan Diadio, 16th is Andrew Eng, 17th is Bill Taylor, 18th is Fabrizio Massini, 19th is Trent Buzzi, and finishing in 20th is Rob Olenek.
Lots of cars finishing laps down. Peter Mikus was wrecked out in 21st, Osmar Schultz 22nd, Sebastian Tixia 23rd, David Ross 24th, 25th went to Telmo Amaral, and the rest of the cars is going to run through your screen as we have somebody to talk to. It's Nicola Kochi, the guy I picked for the win. Nicola, congrats on your first win this season.
Thank you, guys. It was very, it was very hard that last part of the last lap. I was, trying to keep it together. I was very close to Ove. I didn't want to ruin everything, and even if I saw he had lost control, I'm not really sure about that incident. But yeah, it was a pretty lucky win, because I was basically gaining position by attrition. So I wasn't that fast compared to the 4 guy I had in front of me, but with a bit of luck, I was able to keep it together, and it was very, very lucky to finish first.
Yeah, about the incident you had with Ove Trengler, I can tell you that he did clip the curb on the inside, and that's why he pushed out towards you and then hopped over your wheel, and that is what sent him ultimately into the barrier.
Oh, so that was the curb. Yeah, I kind of thought about it, but I was trying to keep the cars as steady as possible, not sudden movement, just keep my line, because I think I was a little bit on ahead of him. And I at that point, I honestly thought that he was going to back out, but it makes sense because it was the last corner, and we had 14 seconds ahead of the third guy. So it's okay to risk a little bit more in that situation for me.
Yeah, now you had a very solid run throughout this season. You were one of the early championship contenders in the first part of this season, and then Mick Claridge happened, and he really ran away with all of that. But I think, if I'm not 100% mistaken, you might actually have been able to clinch the runner-up position in the championship.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. I always get really confused about those dropping weeks and everything. So I just stick to getting the best result possible as usual. But yeah, I'm kind of happy to be in the top 5 of the championship, because I think that's that's my spot more or less. And if I get any position from starting from 5th position up, I will be, of course, happy about it.
Well, Nicola, last but not least, are you gonna return for next season?
Yes, me and Alessandro Parigi, we are going to be here next season as well, and I really look forward for that, because next season I will be able to get my speed up from the start, because this season I was rushing to the 49, and I had like a lot of gap to cover driving style sides, and I struggle a lot. At least on the first three rounds, I was feeling that I was getting frustrated because I couldn't like do my usual driving. I was struggling to be smooth and to finish races, but with a little bit of practice and a little bit of patience, I was able to get back. And next season it will be easier.
Well, hopefully it will be most definitely. I'm gonna have a quick look. No, the championship hasn't been updated yet for Nurburgring, so yeah, whatever position you're finishing, congrats on finishing in that position, and good luck for next season, Nicola.
Okay, thank you guys, and very big congratulations to Mick Claridge that of course dominated like nobody else could do or could dream of, and so very big congratulations to him, and see you next season, guys. Bye bye.
That was Nicola Kochi, probably your runner-up finisher to make Cledge in the championship, but also the winner of this season. Next up, it's Rafael Dorado talking to Ryan Walker.
Rafael finishing in the top three after a pretty good run, and they managed to keep out of trouble. And Rafael, I guess you didn't really expect to finish on the podium, but I guess with the Nordschleife and the Tristan, that's you kept out of trouble, and managed to pick up the pieces and get a well-deserved third place.
Yeah, exactly. The plan was to finish the race. Actually, I think this is the first time I was able to do 5 laps in a row without dying. So I'm very happy about that. Of course, in the end, I had a huge gap for the 4th place, so I took it very easy. But I'm really, really happy with this result and looking forward for next season.
And yeah, how have you found the Lotus 49? Is it have you found it difficult to get to grips with, or is it one of those cars that suits the driving style?
Yeah, this is my 3rd race with the 49, and I find it extremely difficult to drive, but also extremely rewarding because it's a car that you can slide around, you can catch, oversteer, and it's a beautiful, beautiful car to drive.
And yeah, what did you think of the Nordschleife as well? There's some people say it's intimidating, some people seem to love it or seem to hate it. But what do you think of the track?
This is probably my favorite track. I love it. It was my first time driving the 49 in this track, so I had a lot of catching up to do to the other guys that are much more experienced than I am. And I think the trick is, I guess, just don't go full throttle on the scary bits, which is almost everywhere. And, try to finish. It's more a race against yourself than a race against the others.
And before we let you go, are you planning to race the Lotus 49 next season? And if so, are you planning to do every round, or just race when you have time?
Yeah, I do plan to do every race. It's probably going to be the first time I focus on only one car. Before that, I was always visiting different cars in different weeks and trying things around. And I think I finally found something that I really liked, and I will try for the first time to do a whole championship in only one car.
Great stuff. Well, again, congratulations on finishing in third, Rafael, and we'll look forward to seeing you on track next season.
Thank you very much.
That was Rafael Dorado, your third place finisher in this race, just after 3 races in this series. He's already very much caught the bug in the Lotus 49 community. Next up, it's Mick Cledge, your season champion. Mick, I don't know. I feel a little bit sorry for actually being able to finally commentator curse you.
I just read that you said that. Yeah, I can't wait to hear it. No, you know what? I don't know. It might have been a combination of that, but I'll tell you something, man. It was Back Road Bob as well. He did that. Everyone else can't hear him, obviously, out in audience land. But we get Robert Reynolds, and he says, "Go left, go right, go left," when he's being lapped. Bless him. And we all love him. We wouldn't have the series without him. And just as I was coming over that little brow of the hill, I heard, "Go left." And the car just went left, and it just threw me off. It was just too much for my brain. I'd over in the mirror, that corner, the car, iRacing, everything, and Back Row Bob telling me to turn left, and it just done me.
Yeah, Mick, you have to remember, this is not rally racing, we're actually circuit racing. You don't need to do what the co-pilot says you need to do.
It was quite funny because actually when the car was turning left, I was thinking to myself, this doesn't look too bad. Everyone's crashed there during the whole week, or, everyone on iRacing has crashed at that corner. And as it was going into the barrier, I was thinking, I'm going to be able to carry on and Uwe will wait for me. None of it happened,
Well, Mick, let's talk about next season. Are you going to race, and how are you looking forward to that one?
Yeah, I'm going to race. I'm not going to put in the practice I have this season. So I hope the car doesn't change too much because it suits me, obviously. But yeah, I'll be here. But I'm going to try out those 1987 NASCARs as well, because that's where my blood is, really.
Claridge saying he's not going to put in the practice that he does normally. I doubt that very much. But Mick, once again, congrats very much on your season champion. Congrats on winning 9 out of 10 races this season you have attended. And I just can't wait for next season to start.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Can I just say thanks to one person? I'm not going to take too much time. One person,
Go ahead.
Roman, Derek, Andrew, Paul, Pavlowski, whatever the hell his first name is. Thank you to him this season. He's put so much effort into this series this season. He's put on loads of hosted sessions every week. He's done loads of work with Yogi, his new nickname, Yuri, doing the schedule for the next series and the tracks we're going to use and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, so thanks to him because he's really put some effort in.
Very much so. Mick, thank you very much for talking to us, not only today, but also throughout the season, and hope to see you back in next season.
Cheers, guys.
With that, Ryan, what are we going to see next season? What are your thoughts about not only this season, but also for next season?
I think we'll see several new faces in the Lotus 49 the next season. I think as well next season I think there'll be a lot more people taking the challenge to Mick and possibly putting in more practice and just try and beat him. And I think next season we could have a lot more people fighting for the championship. But can anyone stop Mick Claridge taking a North Championship next season? You'll need to watch to find out.
Very much so. With all of that done and dusted, GSRC would like to thank the iRacing Esports Network for having us on their talent lineup to bring you the greatest shows on iRacing into your home. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. On top of that, we'd like to thank everyone on track today and throughout the season for the great show, and especially the Lotus 49 community for contracting with GSRC to broadcast it. Right now on your screen you can see all of the companies that provide us with their great hard and software GSRC uses to deliver you the best possible show. Additional thanks goes to June Lalonde, who provides us with her great masterpieces. See the screen for how to get hold of more of her great work. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, please visit us at globalsimracingchannel.com. You can also find us on the social media platforms, Twitter with @GSRChannel, Facebook at facebook.com/Global SimRacing Channel, on Instagram at GSRC_rap. All of the upcoming races for our other series are now sliding across your screen, so check them out and mark them down in your calendar to not miss another second of exciting racing action. Finally, on behalf of the entire crew, Sean, Ryan, and Doug, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in as Nicola Kochi took away the victory here in virtual Germany. With that said, until next time, stay with and sayonara! And as always, race hard, race clean, and we'll see you on the track.